You don't need to shout. When people get frustrated with their dogs and they ask them to sit and the dog doesn't do it, and then they say sit, 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 and they get louder and louder and louder because their dog's not complying, and then they're getting annoyed. Their dogs can hear them. It's called selective hearing, or the dog doesn't know how to sit. The dog doesn't want to sit at that time. So be aware that you tell clients, you don't need to raise your voice, you don't need to shout at your dog because your dog can hear you. Certain dogs are more sensitive to than others. Dogs like Border Collies, it's particularly sound sensitive. When I was a kid, from the age of 6 to about the age of, 16, I went to work on a farm in Wales. First of all, went on vacation with my parents, and then really from that time, from 6 onwards, I would go out with the farmer, and it was a huge 10,000 acres or more, thousands and thousands of sheep. And I would just spend all my days with the farmer, going around on his jeep with the looking at the sheep and herding the sheep. And of course, he had 2 wonderful dogs, Sam and Roy. Roy was not that friendly. Sam was very friendly, and he taught me how to work those dogs. And I wasn't so good at whistling, but I remember working these beautiful Border Collies, and one of the cues that I was allowed to say, that I could say because I could say it quite high, was Masam, 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 which was Sam's cue to come back. And I'll never forget what a thrill it was working those dogs and saying that and getting that dog to come back so sound sensitive that unfortunately Border Collies do suffer a lot from noise phobias. But they're brilliant at their job because they can hear over high distances. They can hear the farmer's whistles. And when, for example, if you're a place that's like Wales is very mountainous and is very craggy, and the weather, it's quite rainy. And so these dogs need to be able to hear over larger distances when the weather is bad. But working those Border Collies really showed me not just how smart they are, but how amazingly, not only visual, but how sensitive their hearing was. And that's where I think I got my love of dogs from to begin with, because I was so fascinated. And then we started, when I got a little bit older, we started herding the sheep on horseback. And that's why I became a good horse rider, because I remember when I was 8, I fell off the horse and I started crying, and the farmer said to me, he said, "All right, you little bugger, get back up on the horse right now," which is what I did. And I was so scared, but I got back because the farmer scared me even more. I got back on the horse, and from then on, I was an ace rider. I was not a beautiful rider, but I was a feisty rider because I would ride these Welsh mountain Arab ponies and for very far distances, herding sheep with dogs. My dream job. All right, I digress. I'm sorry about that. You had to just listen to me reminisce a little bit. It was so amazing. But I'm going to talk about active listening and passive hearing. And now I really hope you're still actively listening to this, and that my voice hasn't become so monotone that you're now just passively hearing it and trying to concentrate on something else.